It all started with my passion to ensure that efficiency using technology can be driven. Early in my career itself, I got exposed to a lot of technology related work and projects that I was focusing on with other organizations prior to Trent. This helped me understand how a simple automation or a simple process optimization can actually bring a lot of value to the business. So this basically ensured that there was a lot of value that was getting created, not just for the internal stakeholders, but also for our end customers. When I started working with Trent, at that point in time, there were quite a few challenges in terms of tech, which I was able to address and actually create a central kind of a platform which can help the business to not just stand on, but also grow with it. And with SAP implementation, with WMS implementation, with the point of sale implementation, it has really changed the game for the business, and it has helped the growth and the scale that Trent is aspiring for. I joined Trent in March 2009 and joined in as a program manager for SAP. When I joined Trent at that point in time, SAP was already implemented in 2008 or somewhere, and there were a lot of challenges that were running in the business in terms of mapping the business processes back to SAP and ensure the most optimal use of it. So my primary job at that point in time was to ensure that we get the most out of SAP to start with. And my first 1.5 years I spent on that to ensure that there is a lot of value that can be generated out of SAP, and eventually all the processes are mapped correctly to the SAP system so that outputs can be managed. One such example of that can be the fact that store managers or the store colleagues that were actually using SAP when the SAP implementation happened were expected to remember all the transaction codes and all the movement types, which were just random numbers and T-code some random alphabets that they are expected to understand and actually do their operations. So it was a very difficult task for them. What we did for them was created a simple dashboard in English, which can just ask them to do GRN or outward or whatever other processes to be followed. And those processes actually can be clicked by them using a simple mouse, and that's all about it. And then everything can get automated after that. And that really changed the game for the business. And that's just one of the examples. I did more than 1,500 changes in the first 1.5 years that I was working with Trent on. Having started with SAP and stabilizing it, the next big challenge that we took was having a warehouse management system, because one of the biggest dependency that we created in our business at that point in time was the fact that instead of our warehouse, we would ask our colleagues to remember which SKU was kept in which bin and be dependent on that person to know and be available on that day to actually go ahead and do the picking for it, which is a huge task for anyone to first of all remember and then manually execute it also. So what we did then was we implemented warehouse management system, where we automated the entire end-to-end process of warehouse, right from the STO creation, which was happening in SAP, integrating with WMS and sending data there and ensuring that the picking process is now in a manner which can be guided by the system rather than someone actually remembering it. And that was the second big thing that we did in somewhere around 2011, which actually helped the business again. If I can see that there is something that I can add value to in terms of optimizing the business processes or bringing in efficiency in an existing process or redefining a completely new process itself, it gives me a lot of joy and it gives me a lot of energy out of it, and that is what actually helps me. All these tools on technology that we are using are nothing but doing exactly that, whether it is bringing out the operational efficiencies, whether we are implementing something new, or whether we are going ahead and trying to redefine something which was earlier done in a different manner. So all of this together actually helps in ensuring that the business value is getting created, and secondly, it will also help the business to grow and scale further, and that I really enjoy a lot. Post the pandemic, there has been a huge focus on digital transformation across the world, across the retail industry itself. And Trent obviously decided to invest in digital a lot more than what it was doing earlier. One of the first things that we wanted to do was to ensure that we have a central digital core in place for a business that we were trying to grow and scale at such a fast pace, especially with brands like Zudio growing at such immense pace that was being planned way back in 2020 and 2021. So what we did was we went ahead and used our experience of all of the earlier 9-10 years that we've been keeping the lights on for ensuring that we first create an SAP S4 HANA platform in place in June 2021. And once that was in place, we focused all our energies on revamping the entire point of sale, which is the customer facing application for our business. While the earlier point of sale was doing everything that it was supposed to do, it was near its end of life, and we wanted to take something which is the best of breed, both in fashion as well as our hypermarket formats, and something that can be plug and play in our business. And we eventually implemented ETP POS, which did the job. Happy to say that ETP POS implementation was one of the fastest that ETP themselves have seen with us, with any other organization that they have worked with. We implemented the ETP POS in more than 700 stores in a record time of 3 months, with not even a single day of downtime on any of the stores. That is the kind of output that we could generate, and it was only possible because of the amount of experience that we had in terms of how the business processes work, how the current technology works, and how we were able to use that knowledge to ensure that there was no business disruption. So omnichannel, it's not just now, but with Trent, we are doing this from 2016. Since the day Tata Click has gone live, way back in May 2016, we were there with them from day one. And we started our omnichannel journey with them. So the first thing that we did in our omnichannel journey was to unify our inventory, both for our online as well as the offline businesses. What we essentially did was had a single view of inventory, whether the customer comes from any of the channels, with be it my website at that point in time, which was tataclick.com, or from into a physical store. We ensured that the inventory shown to our customer is a near real-time inventory that will ensure that the orders can be taken online also, along with on them at a near real-time basis. The second important step that we did was to ensure that we start shipping from the stores. When we started with Tata Click in 2016, at that point in time, we were unsure whether a ship from store model will really work, because stores have limited capacity, limited space, limited processing power that they can actually devote to. But as we learned the process on how online business works, we realized that delivering to the customer from the closest place possible or the closest store possible is far more beneficial than actually delivering from a central location, let's say in Pune, to across India. So we started working on ship from store concepts, where we started with a few stores and took some learnings from them, and then put those learnings back into more number of stores being added, and eventually a ship from store model was built for us. Once that was ready, we then decided to go ahead and put our own website then, which is the Westside.com, and that's where we went live in November 2020 with Westside.com being an e-commerce website. And all the learnings that we had from the Tata Click experience, we could bring it in Westside.com also from the omnichannel perspective. So AI and ML is definitely something that is here to stay for. But AI ML is more real and more mature than anything else that we are seeing right now, especially with a lot of Gen AI tools that are now available in the market to be picked up and experimented with. So at Trent, we have started experimenting with AI and ML both. In fact, there is already some work that has been going on to ensure on how AI can help us in ensuring that our entire reporting structure can get automated, and it can actually help understand on how the various components can actually be delivered faster to our internal stakeholders and in a more intelligent manner, rather than just data dumps that currently the users are receiving on. We are also trying to experiment and see whether AI can help us in our replenishment strategies. There is some work that we are trying to do, and more of an experiment again, but we are trying to understand on how can AI influence that decision-making process, which currently is more of a rigid kind of a decision making. Can it get automated? Can it lead to a dynamic tracking or a dynamic planning kind of a process, which will help the business even more than what we are doing right now? Gen AI will definitely pick up a lot more muscle and mass in due course of time, and it will be able to do a lot of automation for a lot of use cases within the retail industry itself. So AI ML is definitely a big trend that is shaping up. The second big trend that is also shaping up is IoT, the Internet of Things. Having connected devices and having devices that can actually help make decision making faster and real time, looking at the correct connected outputs that they are able to provide. I think there is a lot of potential there in terms of usage in the planning area, usage in the monitoring area, and so on and so forth. The third biggest trend that I also see happening is on the AR VR space, which is augmented reality and the virtual reality space. There's a lot of potential there on using of AR VR for enhancing the customer experience. Customer can virtually look and feel a product using AR VR, and can actually culminate into a decision of purchase, or at least, if not anything else, drive the customer to a store because they liked what they saw in a virtual reality or an augmented reality output from a website. So these three trends are definitely going to add a lot more value in the retail industry in the coming future.